Tucker Carlson, Dave Collum, that's it. They basically go on this whole World War II denialist streak.
Very few college professors
Wait,
do what
language is this in? Why is it in this language? Why is it in Russian? Are you serious? Why are the subtitles in Russian? Why would they be in Russian? Is that the most common language it's translated into? Is that why? That's weird.
college professors are.
Okay. There's this dude named Dave Collum who is like, who went on Tucker, on his little show here or whatever, and engaged in absolutely insane Holocaust revisionism, Holocaust denialism, I would call it. And I wanted to listen to what these two poor fools had to say to each other. It is absolutely insane. Check this out. Let me just play the clip that inspired me to watch this video of Tucker Carlson and this dude named Dave Collum. Listen to this.
And it started when I read a book by Diana West, who would be good if you interviewed her.
Talking about his Holocaust denialism started then.
And it's this all revisionist history of World War II. And you go, well, why would you want to read that? Well, it turns out I think the story we got about World War II is all wrong.
Actually. I think that's right.
And then I read about FDR, and FDR's right-hand man was a Soviet spy.
Certainly was.
Right? And therefore...
Confirmed.
No, he wasn't. He was not a Soviet spy. This is not confirmed. This is just a flat-out lie.
We should have been... One can make the argument we should have sided with Hitler and fought Stalin.
Jesus Christ, dude. What broke in your brain that would inspire you to even say such a thing? Hitler was evil incarnate. Yeah, Stalin was bad too, but Hitler had broader ambitions. Hitler intended to take over Europe and was in the process of doing so. How can you possibly say that we should have sided with Hitler? What is wrong with you? Sign up for my Patreon. I'd really appreciate that very much. It would mean so much to me. This is like a really precarious moment in history, in U.S. history, and for me personally, so it would mean a lot if you sign up for my Patreon. Check out cultarchive.org. I did a cult test, basically, where you can see if you're in a cult, and you can look at the historical tests of other groups that already went through this. Also, check out my merch. I have a whole bunch of really cool shirts and stuff. Really interesting. I would really appreciate that.
Patton said that, so...
I don't think that's true, but okay, whatever. I'm sure if he did, then it's being taken out of context here.
And maybe there wouldn't have been a Holocaust, right? You know,
If we had supported Hitler, there wouldn't have been a Holocaust? What are you smoking? If we had supported Hitler, there wouldn't have been a Holocaust. Really? How can these people say this shit? This is wild.
But Stalin was awful by any metric, and we weren't his ally.
Yeah, he was pretty bad. We were his ally, though.
The story is that there were a few missing American soldiers at the end of World War II in Russian territory.
No.
15 to 20,000 were missing, and we left them there. And then you read about Pearl Harbor. We all sort of know the Pearl Harbor stories now, what we were told, but I
yes, it was.
Dug into that, and you find out we knew to the morning that Pearl Harbor was going to get taken.
No, we didn't. He's mixing up a story about how the Japanese intended to and attempted to send a warning to us before Pearl Harbor took place because they viewed that as honorable. And one of the generals even considered canceling the attack since he found out that the warning did not reach us in America, but decided not to cancel it the very morning. So we didn't actually know. We didn't get any alerts. We didn't get any warnings. We had no clue. However, you know, we kind of backed Japan into a corner on that. Like, they had no choice but to go to war with somebody, either us or the Soviet Union. And they chose to go to war with us because basically we were squeezing them dry of all of their oil. They had no oil left to operate. And so they had no choice but to go to war with us or with somebody to get oil. Anyway, that's probably what he's referring to. But as you can see, it's not even close to the truth. It's not even like, you can't even distort this a little bit to make it true. There is just not even a grain of truth to what he just said. We did not know.
Stalin knew it was going to be attacked. He wanted us to take the Japanese off his flank and FDR's right-hand man was okay with that because he was a Soviet spy, right?
No, he wasn't.
Then I read about FDR in the Great Depression. You find out that every single penny he spent trying to help the Amity Schleys, the forgotten man, was spent to buy votes. Every last penny. He was a sociopath.
You're telling me you think that FDR wouldn't have won the election if he hadn't cheated? Really? Give it a fucking rest.
And the only thing he could do was lie. He was a compulsive liar. His inner circle had to constantly cover for his lying.
Anyway, the point is, I wanted to watch this entire thing, like this whole video, this whole breakdown. So let's give it a listen. They cover all kinds of psychotic subjects.
Supposed to do, which is kind of break through outside.
Step back here.
Very few college professors do what college professors are supposed to do, which is kind of break through outside campus into the conversation among smart people about what the world is about. And in other words, they don't kind of influence the broader culture directly. And you do, and you're an organic chemistry professor. How are you allowed to do this at Cornell? Are you allowed?
Oh, please.
To kind of opine on economics, social policy, foreign policy.
Why the f would he not be allowed to give his opinion on something? Really? These people are perpetual victims. I swear to God.
What are your administrators saying when you
like? Who gives a f? They're obsessed with being perpetual victims.
Do this.
I don't know if it's generally true, but Cornell's not giving me any guff. The only problem I had with Cornell, and we talked, we had breakfast and we talked a little bit about, I think my colleagues wish I would shut up, but they don't tell me to shut up, although, they've told me to stay on. I have kind of an intellectual Tourette syndrome where
stay in your lane.
Well, I'll be in the middle of class, like in March of 07. In the middle of class, no warning, I blurt out the banking system's about to collapse. I'd written about it in
Okay, well, I'm not sure which specific situation he's referring to.
2002.
He said it was about to collapse in 2002. Okay. Well, it's actually about to collapse because of Donald Trump now. But of course, this guy is a Trump nutcase. But I wonder, is he talking about how it's going to collapse now? Also, why are you talking about that in class? You're a chemistry teacher.
But I said, I think it's about to collapse.
This is an organic chemistry class?
An organic chemistry class. And they looked at me and I just said, look, I think the entire banking system's going down the tubes now. And it took another year and a half to...
Did they say that's not a related discipline? What are you talking about?
No one gave me guff for that. What was entertaining about that particular Tourette's-like outburst is that I had the same kids in an honors thesis course 2 years later. In the first lecture, one lecture a week, the first lecture I said, didn't I warn you? This is February of 2009. So didn't I warn you that the banking system was going to collapse? They said,
like 10 years ago. Yeah. Wow. Quite the predictive power you have there, bud. You know that in a credit-based economy where you borrow money, you know that there's a big crash, or it goes in boom bust cycles. And there are big crashes every 70 years and little crashes every 7 years, unless it's regulated. And in 2008, we had a big crash. Actually, 2008 was 70 years or so after the Great Depression, give or take. So 2008, and then 7 years after that would have been 2015. Everybody was expecting another big crash, or another small bust, basically, in 2015, 2016. But thanks to regulation from Obama, it didn't fall apart the way that was expected. However, it looks like we're gunning for another big crash soon. And this one was manufactured. Like, this didn't have to happen. This happened because Donald Trump wanted power.
Said, yeah, you did. And I said, did your econ professors tell you that? They said, no. And I said, what are those assholes paid for?
God, Tucker is so cringy, dude. He is so obsessed with being, the everyman, the common guy, just a regular old country music loving dude. And it's so cringy and painful. Oh, look, I'm eating a banana. Oh, isn't that funny that I'm eating a banana like a normal human being? And for some reason I have a vest on that's puffy? Just absurd, dude.
In this thesis course, I used a lot of guest lectures. So my first guest lecture was the CEO of Morgan Stanley Bank. And he had cut his teeth on mortgage-backed securities. And he spent 2 hours talking about the catastrophe that we were in the middle of in February
Wait, is he talking about 08?
of 2009.
Right.
And so yeah, I do occasionally go off the rails, but no one gives me grief. I got canceled in 2020. The closest you and I've been following you for years, but the closest you and I actually came to actually meeting, but we didn't, was in 2020. I got canceled during the height of cancel season, right? Remember?
Yes.
Oh, please, dude. God, they're perpetual victims, really. Get over yourselves. Like, anybody gives a fuck about you, honestly.
How was happening all the time. And the probability of me ending up being interviewed by you was pretty high because it was I got canceled. I was written up in the Federalist and places like that. And so
What were you canceled for?
it was a real crime against humanity. I supported the police.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's all. I'm sure there's no other layer to this whatsoever. You just said, I support the police, and you got canceled for it, right?
It's one of those. Remember the guy who got knocked over in Buffalo?
Yes.
A friend of mine I was doing a podcast with that Saturday posted that late one night and said, I think this is just appalling when the old guy got knocked out by the riot police. And I watched the video a couple of times. I said, well, Chris, his name was Chris Irons. I said, we can talk about it on Saturday, but I have no idea what he was doing there. So this is in a tweet. And I said,
I think I remember this. It was some random guy just standing there protesting, nothing more. And if I remember correctly, the police officer walked up and pushed him over, and he hit his head and started bleeding from his head and just passed out there. And they had to take him to the hospital. He had a concussion, and he was just all fucked up from the police. If it's the same case that I'm thinking of. And it was like the clearest, most obvious, blatant example of police abuse that I have ever seen in my entire life, because the guy literally did nothing. He had just been standing there. He didn't get in their face. He didn't cause problems. He didn't nothing. And if that's the case that this dude's talking about, then I'm going to assume he's going to talk shit about this guy.
I said he was poking riot police with something that looked kind of like a taser or something. Turns out in retrospect, it was a skimmer.
If this is the case I remember, then no, he wasn't poking anybody with anything. He was literally standing there with a little poster, and that's it.
And so I said, it looks like kind of a self-inflicted problem to me, right? I didn't say he deserved it or anything like that, but it is self-inflicted if you poke a riot policeman and he knocks you over, right? That's pretty much, It's a Darwin Award.
Bears and riot policemen shouldn't be poked.
Turns out,
okay, that was pretty funny.
What I learned that night was that cancel culture is not organic. It was incredibly astroturfed.
Oh, give it a fucking rest, dude. You say something that's fucking vile, and people don't like it, and it has to be some conspiracy against you. Come on, man. Really.
The speed with which it happened was staggering. It was automated. Within 20 or 30 minutes, email boxes all across the administration were filling with complaints. It went everywhere. I had to lock down my Twitter feed fast and things like that. And then Cornell was on sort of a war footing trying to figure out what to do. Now, they're trying to figure out what to do just because they wanted the fire to be put out, right? So they weren't against me in that sense. It was during the lockdown, so...
Wow, like I've lost a lot of respect for Cornell, knowing that they defended this sack of shit. You guys haven't heard why I'm watching this yet, I don't think. I mean, I don't think I said it, but I'm watching this because in this clip, you know what?
I didn't actually... there was the advantage of everyone was locked down, but I wasn't sure Antifa wouldn't show up, and we know that's not organic either, right? And so...
He said he didn't know that Antifa wouldn't show up to his house, and that's not organic either. Come on, man. Antifa is not a terrorist group. It's not a group at all. It's an idea, as attested to by Trump's own FBI, and the FBI director under Donald Trump, Christopher Wray. Antifa is an idea. However, I don't think that we should be going like I don't think we should do Antifa. Like I don't think we should support Antifa as an idea. Instead, I think we should support the three arrows. If you guys don't know that, Antifa existed in Germany during World War II era, and it was a militant group designed to protect communists from violence perpetrated by like Hitler's brown shirts. Communists at that time and place were fucking psychotic. They were insane. They were dangerous. They were violent. They were equally as evil as the Nazis were, the communists at the time and in that place. We can talk about like political communism today and how it's different and everything else, but the communists at the time were bad. And their militant group was Antifa. The Social Democrats at the time was kind of like they, you know, their positions were very much like FDR's positions or like my positions. They were nearly identical to me in their beliefs, their ideals, their positions on various different things. The Social Democrats were the shit. And they also had a militant group who protected other Social Democrats from like retribution or violence from Hitler. They called themselves the Three Arrows because every time they saw a swastika out in public, they would spray paint three arrows across it to kind of deface it. And the arrows basically meant no monarchy, no communism, and no fascism or no Nazism or whatever. No Nazis, no communism, no monarchy. If we're going to have a militant group, then it should be that. No, you know what? It was called the Iron Front. The Three Arrows was an anti-propaganda campaign, but the Iron Front was the name of the militant group itself. Yeah, that was it. Not to be confused with the Steel Helmets, which was a right-wing militant group, a veterans group, veterans of World War I who supported Hitler and often used and were often used as a show of force on Hitler's behalf. Does anyone believe if Hitler got Europe, he would just stop there? I don't think he would. I believe he would also try to take the U.S. I don't believe that he had any plans to take the United States. He probably would have eventually tried if he had gotten powerful enough. He most likely would have tried. However, he did send people who he loved and respected away to America for safety, like his mom's childhood doctor. His mom had cancer and she died of it. Like when he was 18 or something, I think. She died young. She died when she was very young of cancer, and the doctor did everything he could to save her, everything he could. But there was a point of no return where he couldn't, you know, it was just not going to work. And, you know, he really helped Hitler through it a lot and was nice to him. And didn't even charge them at a certain point for treatment and stuff. That doctor was Jewish. And when World War II started, Hitler, or leading up to it, Hitler had the doctor basically not arrested, but like brought to a secure facility and then sent him to the United States for safety because he knew that, you know, what comes next is going to be really, really ugly. So anyway, Hitler viewed America as out of his reach. Probably would have attempted to take it eventually, but didn't have any active plans to do so.
And so I slept with some loaded guns, and
Good.
I was emotionally ready to blow someone's brains out.
I've been there. I get it. Absolutely.
How many tenure professors in Ivy League schools have guns at home?
I don't know.
Just you.
I would not. Well, there's probably more. We have natural resources department, stuff like that. And those guys probably use the resources available. But the one mistake Cornell made, they made two mistakes. First of all, it turns out the guy was a grifter. The whole thing was faked. And
What was faked? Who was the grifter? Was the grifter you?
There's video footage of him telling people he's going to go get knocked down and people yelling at him for.
Oh, you're talking about the guy from the. Okay, I forgot. Yeah. This is just complete bullshit. Like what he's saying here is just trash. If it's the same guy that I'm thinking of, this is all just completely made up.
Doing that. It turns out the blood that came out of his ear, I've talked to physicians, they said it would never come out like that.
God, he's a conspiracy theory. Look, the police fucking knocked somebody to the ground for no reason at all. None. Zero. There was no reason for this. He was doing literally nothing. And they knocked him down and nearly killed him. And you're coming up with some like excuse for the cops? What is broken in your brain? How can you possibly justify this? Really? Clearest cut case of police brutality I've seen in a while. No justification for this. Like, you know, right wingers always come up with some ridiculous bullshit to make up about somebody or whatever. Like, you know, when they accuse somebody of something there, or when somebody has a police brutality case against them, they always come up with something like, oh, he was menacing, he looked scary, you never know, he didn't belong in that neighborhood and all that shit. This guy's literally just fucking standing there.
Pictures of him on the gurney talking on his cell phone behind the ambulance. The press couldn't find him in any of the hospitals. He made a lot of money on GoFundMe.
Yeah.
So
so you're telling me you don't think that the guy even got hurt? Is that what you're saying? You think that it was fake? Really? What a colossal piece of shit this guy is, really. What a colossal piece of shit.
He grifted while he was supposedly in a coma, his Twitter feed, which had all sorts of fuck the police kind of comments, was being scrubbed very quickly. And so the whole thing in retrospect was a grift. So I was dead right.
No, you weren't. It was not a grift. The dude fucking fell on the ground for no reason. Was pushed onto the ground by police for no reason.
Cornell was...
Yeah, FD Jack says, I hate how people just make shit up. Yeah, that's what's happening here. It's just like fabricating information, just lying. Usually there's a grain of truth to this shit. There isn't even a grain of truth here. This is just a flat out bald-faced fucking lie.
On a war footing, trying to figure out how to just stop this. There's graffiti all over the campus and stuff. And so they made two mistakes. One is at no point did someone from Cornell reach out and say, how are you doing? Right.
Well, why the fuck would they do that? Like that's just your job. Why do they care? I don't understand.
Because
I don't expect YouTube to call me and say, how are you doing? Anytime I'm dealing with, so like, oh, my mom died or something. Oh, how you doing from YouTube? I don't get it.
North Carolina got canceled and he killed himself, right? I wasn't going to kill myself. It was unpleasant. I would admit that.
How long had you been at Cornell at that point?
That would have been 40 years.
40 years. So
right. 4 years as an undergrad. So, you know.
So you'd spent 44 years at Cornell at that point. So not a newcomer.
No. And by the way.
Wow. 44 years. That's nuts, dude.
The guy who was the provost at the time was a friend of mine.
What the fuck is a provost? I don't think I've ever heard that word before.
He was, I knew him from the day he got to Cornell. He's now the president. And it's useful. So when I knew I was coming here, and I asked a trustee, I'm going to be talking to Tucker. Is there anything you'd like me to somehow get out there? Not that I'm going to be there talking, man, but it would be stupid to miss it. And I sent a quick email to the president and said, is there anything? And he gave me a couple bullets, but they were obvious. They were the obvious things. And the second mistake they made is eventually they put together some, and the Daily Sun was doing what I called the daily column, where they'd publish an article about what an asshole I was, right? And they'd write an article about the football team and get the end and say, by the way, did we mention Collum's an asshole, right? That sort of thing. So,
okay.
So they finally wrote a letter denouncing me.
Dude, wait, who did? What? Cornell? Is that who he's referring to? Also, what is it like to have a really fucking awful last name? Like, there are some really, really bad last names out there, right? Anybody ever consider changing their last name if it's bad enough?
And it was signed, interestingly, by the president, who I didn't really like that much, that president. The provost, who's a friend of mine, which was ironic. The chief of police, which was super ironic. And a couple other administrators. Who was missing was one of our deans, the dean of arts and sciences, who didn't sign it. He would have been an obvious signer. And he once said to me, what good is tenure if you don't have free speech? Now.
Yep. Okay. I agree. Like, tenure is important for your speech, of course. But you think that you don't have free speech? You think that you're not allowed to say things or whatever? I don't understand. You didn't have your speech silenced, according to this story, right? You were just criticized for being a fucking shithead, where you're attacking some dude for doing literally nothing wrong and being pushed over by the cops?
they weren't trying to hurt me. They were just trying to put out a fire, and it put it out. So in that sense, they did the right thing.
Did they call and tell you they were going to denounce you before they
No. And by the way, I know a number of trustees at this point, and they all said they should have just shut up. So that was a mistake. More recently, a guy named Rickman, I think it was, made that statement about it being exhilarated that Israel got attacked, right? And he shouldn't have said that, right? That was stupid. But
interestingly, these two guys are anti-Israel because they're made up, because it's a predominantly Jewish country. And these guys are like anti-Semites to the absolute fucking max. So you would think that being right-wingers, they're like super in favor of Israel or whatever, right? No, they fucking hate Israel, both of them. It's going to be interesting to kind of see how they break this whole thing down.
But what people don't understand is that universities are this funny combination of free speech and academic freedom. We're supposed to foster speech, and that means dumb speech. That means sometimes hostile speech, right? And you know that drill.
Absolutely, yes. Sometimes you gotta, 100%. And it sounds like that's what they did. So,
and then the president denounced him, same president, the one I didn't really like, the one who denounced me. And she said, "This is only the second time I've denounced something a faculty member said." And I go, "Yeah, I was the first."
Hate to brag, but we're pretty confident this show is the most vehemently pro-dog podcast you're ever going to see.
Yep. All right. Jumping forward. Thank you, Tucker.
Your friend who denounced you, did that affect your friendship?
No, not a bit. They were just trying to put out a fire, and I was ready for the fire to be put out. What helped is several trustees wandered in the president's office and said, "Don't even think about doing something stupid here." So I had, one day I put out a tweet, talk about how lovely Cornell is. Cornell is a phenomenal institution. So my loyalty to Cornell is tainting my vision, but Cornell is not like the other Ivies. It's not Harvard. It's not Princeton. It's in the middle of this idyllic setting we have 200 gorges. The people at Cornell are self-selected. They're the ones who want to live here, right? If there was a college in your neighborhood, it would be filled with people who love the outdoors. It would be filled with people who like this way of life, right? Cornell has that. And so, and by the way, it's ranked number 1 in a critical category. It has more top 10 ranked departments than any school in the country.
Okay, cool. I mean, I think Cornell is a good school. Bill Nye went there. Carl Sagan taught at Cornell, right? And a bunch of other... You know that I'm on an advisory board with Carl Sagan's daughter? That's pretty cool, right? I think her name is Sasha. I haven't had the opportunity to sit down and have a conversation with her. But yeah, we're on a board together. And we will eventually have that opportunity to sit down and hang out and talk.
And that's because we have so many different things going on here. So it's a very special place.
So the letter denouncing you was really just kabuki. I mean, it was
kabuki. Yeah, it was trying to just put out the fire, and it did. And I paid a price. I lost a consulting gig at Pfizer because of it, because I was now a Nazi, And
well, he is a Nazi, and I don't say that derogatorily or whatever. I mean, this guy. In a minute, as you know, I'm assuming that you saw the beginning, the very first part. I'm not sure which part we're in currently. He said at the beginning of this that Hitler, that we should have partnered with Hitler, and if we had, then the Holocaust wouldn't have happened, and all kinds of revisionist, insane Holocaust denying trash.
And
wait, Pfizer didn't stand by you?
I'd consult there for 20 years, and they were going to Zoom consulting. And Pfizer doesn't need a controversial consultant either. So they just cleared the deck as well. So I don't hold it.
Right, because this guy is a chemist. Okay, makes sense, I guess.
What I hold against Pfizer is the vaccine. I don't hold.
Oh my God. You're an anti-vaxxer of all people. You, a chemist, please.
The guys I consult with at Pfizer were great guys, and Pfizer, they were trying to get their job done right, stuff like that. So,
why do you, as an organic chemist, why do you hold the vaccine against them?
Because I think it killed a lot of people.
Oh my God, dude, this is disgusting. What is wrong with this guy? Okay, so where are the death records? Do you have literally any proof of this at all? It's been years now. Do you have anything that can verify this whatsoever? You know, the claims from right-wing nutcases about like people dying suddenly, and then when it didn't happen, they had to make more shit up, and they created a movie called Died Suddenly to try to convince people that there was like this big thing or whatever when there wasn't. What is wrong with these people, really? This is just disgusting shit.
And they knew it. I read so I started writing about COVID right away. You can imagine, right? As scientist, I started networking. I started trying to figure it out. I'm in a group called Doctors for COVID Ethics for 4 years, where we had every major anti-vaxxer on the planet go through this.
Wait, so you're a consultant to Pfizer. You're a pretty famous, one of the most famous organic chemists in the country. So if
I don't know about that, but okay. I would call that Walter White.
you say the Pfizer COVID vax killed a lot of people, it can't be dismissed as crank talk.
It is crank talk. This is a fallacy. A logical fallacy is called argument from authority.
Well, it could be, because I'm not a vaccine expert. I'm an organic chemist. So I have certain technical skills that probably help me burrow. And as the genetics major as an undergrad, that helps me. I don't use the biochem or the genetics, but it allows me to sort of read stuff. And
but you think it killed?
Yeah, it's his general training as an academic that helps him get through it, right? Like, I have a hard time reading law articles, for example, that my wife has. Even like her own legal writing is kind of hard to kind of wade through. But if I took a legal writing class, or if I just read a book on legal writing, I could understand it. Just the training is what did it, right?
A lot of people.
Well, the Pfizer papers, which are papers written about the clinical trials in the VAERS database, show huge number of problems.
Oh, please.
Right. And so the doctor for COVID ethics, we had every famous anti-vaxxer. One of the first ones I went to, it was Bobby Kennedy, and we had, you name it. You name an anti-vaxxer. You name the Malones, the Ryan Coles, the Brian Artises, you can go on and on and on. They all went through this group, and we talked about things. 3 or 4 years
Is anyone keeping track of how many Americans were killed by it?
Well, it's very hard because, first of all, every flu death got absorbed into the COVID stats. So flu disappeared, which
That's not true. That's just a complete fictitious fucking lie.
Can't be true. And if it did because we were locked down, then how'd we all get COVID, right? So
this is telling me that he's either lying or has no idea how literally any of this works. Flu deaths decreased because there were fewer, because we were locked down. But as COVID is more contagious than the flu, obviously, people were still getting COVID at a higher rate than they were getting the flu. I mean, is it really that hard to understand?
There's now studies coming out from other countries because we have too many people who will look very bad when this data comes out. But the Japanese, for example, have come out and said some very strong things about what didn't happen. The head of the Japanese medical system, I think, came out and said that you could correlate the number of deaths with the number of shots.
This is just a lie. This just is not true.
Right. And so it's now that the gag orders.
Yeah, there is a correlation. That is not causation.
Released. Scientific studies are making it into the literature, and there's already thousands.
It's got to be one of the great man-made disasters of our lifetimes.
The
man-made disaster, please. God, these people.
Lockdown too. I think you mentioned, or someone did in one of your podcasts.
There was no lockdown, no federal lockdown. Some states paid companies, actually the federal government had PPP loans and they gave us a COVID stipend or whatever. But some states had a lockdown, a temporary short-term lockdown. Everybody was encouraged to do things from home. I mean, God, I was there. I remember it. These people are just fabricating this shit. This is wild.
About the travesty, maybe it was Walter, about the travesty of locking down. You show me, you tell me how old a kid is, and I can tell you what subjects he does not or she does not know. So if you...
Yeah, and how many lives did we save for that? Hindsight is 2020, and I think that if we did things now, we would have done it, we would do it differently than we had at the time. Like, for example, maybe we kept kids out of school a little longer than we should have. But, we were all trying to figure this out together, and we were all doing our best and hoping everything played out okay, and just trusting what the experts said. What's the conspiracy here? That people were like setting out to like make kids stupider? Is that what you're trying to say? Is that the concern? You think people are trying to like make children idiots or something? What?
You were studying trigonometry the year that everything was locked down. You don't know trigonometry at all.
That's not fully true, but okay, whatever.
We pretended to teach them. They pretended to learn. Nothing happened.
And do you see that now?
Well, you could see it going through the system. So, for example, our first year grads who were taking organic chemistry during lockdown, when they showed up, they were very weak in organic chemistry. Yeah, you could see it. So think of the poor kid who's 5 years old trying to learn how to read and write, and everything's through a mask.
It was hard, and it doesn't matter if it was through a mask. It's completely irrelevant. It was hard to not be there in person and also learn. This guy is such a fucking scumbag, dude.
Right. And there's imprinting periods, right? There's periods where you learn to read and write or you're kind of in trouble. And so it was disastrous. It was absurd. And the whole thing was done by Fauci.
But how could...
Oh my God, the perpetual fucking monster in these people's heads. Look at MISC, long COVID in children as a vascular disease. COVID is no joke. Yeah, 100%. It's fucking real. And lots and lots and lots of people died from it, like horrifyingly. And I don't understand how this guy can justify saying and believing all of this shit. It's vile. He's just towing the right-wing extremist line. God, COVID, it did more damage to society than nearly anything. Like, it broke people's fucking brains, dude. Like, my brother, he was kind of cooked in the first place, but after COVID, dude, this dude's head was just baked all the way through. COVID did a number on people. Like, their brains were just shot to shit afterward, and they were convinced there was some kind of a fucking conspiracy and all this other crazy, unhinged shit. Wild.
And our Zoom group, by the way, had Scott Atlas. And so I asked Scott, I said, Scott, was it malicious? Fauci and Birx did what they do was malicious? And
Birx? Why would what Birx did be malicious? Birx is the person that Trump brought in to replace Fauci when Fauci was not doing exactly what Trump wanted him to do. What are you talking about? What Birx did? God, these people.
I think it was. I mean, I think there's evil forces behind those two, but he took a different tact. He said, you cannot fathom how stupid those two are. That was his answer. He said, Fauci never gave a scientific argument. Never. And he said, one day, this is astonishing. He said,
are you shitting me? Fauci didn't give a what? He didn't give a scientific argument? By the by, quick question for you guys. Which do you prefer? The Fauci ouchie or the jab? Oh my God, I can't believe I just did that. Fauci ouchie or the jab? Let's do it. Let's do a poll. We're gonna do a poll on YouTube. I can't do it on Twitch, but I read your messages more readily, Twitch. So, which do you prefer? Fauci, ouchie, the clot shot, the jab. All right, let's start the poll. Dude, I swear to God, these people are so fucking weird who came up with all of these stupid names. They're so weird. People saying the jab is superior. I like the Fauci ouchie pretty well. The clot shot's stupid. But yeah, Fauci ouchie is metal as fuck.
one day, this is all recorded, so I'm not, talking behind his back. There is.
Oh boy, get ready for him to talk behind someone's back.
A recording on the internet with us. He says one day he walks in with a scientific paper that Atlas had read. And so he's thinking, whoa, Fauci's actually going to say something scientific. Fauci went to say encephalomyelitis. Now, if you work at the 7-Eleven, you might stumble on that one. But if you're head of the entire health organization, you shouldn't. And he said he botches so.
Encephalomyelitis. Okay. I mean, maybe he doesn't say that very often because it's not relevant to his everyday work. I don't. Is this even real, or did he just straight up make this shit up? It's very possible he just made this up, this complaint.
Bad it was unintelligible, and Atlas said, come again? What'd you just say? And Fauci wouldn't repeat it. He said Birx was yanking shit off the internet. making pie charts, having not a clue what it meant. Not a clue.
That's terrifying.
I mean, they were both doctors or are both doctors, so I'm sure they probably knew exactly what it meant, but okay. You're the expert. The head of the NIH is unqualified completely, and you, some random organic chemist professor, knows more than everybody, right? And they're all liars and cheaters and they're blah, 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 right? Is that right?
Now, here's the Chris Malice, though. He didn't speak up, I don't think.
Fauci.
Atlas. I think he sat there.
Can I ask you to back up just a moment, though? So you're describing now incompetence, but you alluded earlier to malice. What do you think the dark forces behind Birx and Fauci were?
Oh, boy, the dark forces.
Well, I think first of all, they love the fact we're talking about whether it came out of a lab in Wuhan, because that way we're debating whether to blame the Chinese or not, right? When in fact, I think it came out of a lab probably in North Carolina.
Oh, my God, dude. The guy thinks that COVID came out of a lab in North Carolina. Really?
A number of guys have tracked both the disease and the vaccine back years before it showed up on our dinner plate.
I
think low level of malice would be.
Wait, you think it came out of a lab in North Carolina?
Yeah, Ralph Barrick. Yeah, you can follow. A guy named David Martin has followed the patent trail, and an artificial organism can be patented, not a natural one.
Yes,
and you can follow the patent trail on COVID. And
okay, you know what? I feel like I have to. We have to follow up on this. Let's see what the fuck is going on. Hang on, an artificial one, right? Okay, let's see here. Truth about patenting viruses and organisms. You can patent biological material, but only under specific conditions. The U.S. Supreme Court ruled in Diamond v. Chakrabarty. Let me just verify that. Yes, that's correct. 1980. That genetically modified organisms, or GMOs, can be patented if they are markedly different from what occurs in nature. Okay, so this is about GMOs. Naturally occurring organisms cannot be patented as they are, but if they are isolated, purified, or genetically modified in a novel way, the modified version can be patented. Patents related to coronaviruses existed before COVID-19, but they're not for SARS-CoV-2. There are patents for other coronaviruses, such as ones used in vaccines or modified in labs for research purposes, e.g. SARS-CoV-1. Or modified spike proteins. Conspiracists frequently reference patent number 10130701 or similar ones. That patent is not for SARS-CoV-2, but relates to an older strain of coronavirus used in vaccine development or lab research. COVID-19 emerged as a novel virus in 2019. It was not covered by any prior patent. The claim that the claim that a COVID patent proves it was created is false. Having a patent on a virus-related sequence or protein does not mean the virus was artificial. It often means researchers developed tools to study it or created a modified version for vaccine or treatment purposes. There you go. So it's just a lie. He's just making this shit up completely. Eris385, thank you so much. This is a Chinese propaganda talking point. Oh, no doubt about it. Yeah, 100%.
Be patented, not a natural one.
Yes.
And you can follow the patent trail on COVID, and you can follow the vaccine patent trail, and
so
watch it get moved around, move from point A to point B.
This is just a lie.
Created in North Carolina. How did it get to Wuhan? And
because
what was that?
We were funding research in Wuhan because we were not allowed to do gain of.
Right.
Sorry, I keep tapping the table.
Oh, it's all right.
I believe that this is a lie. Hang on, let me just find out. Gain of function research is legal in the United States, as it should be. That's how we study and prepare for viruses. Like this whole gain of function propaganda line was fabricated, maybe not fabricated by Rand Paul, but pushed heavily by Rand Paul to pretend that there's some big secret or whatever. Gain of function research has existed since like literally forever. Well, since vaccine research at the very least. And it's basically just an attempt to guess at the most likely next step, evolutionary step, that a virus is likely to take. And the reason that we basically stimulate the virus and get it to evolve so that we can create a vaccine for the most likely evolutionary whatever. This whole gain of function thing is just a fear-mongering tactic from right-wing nutcases. That's it. Okay, let's step back a little bit and see what he's going to say here.
Wuhan. And
because
what was that?
we were funding research in Wuhan because we were not allowed to do gain of
Right.
Sorry, I keep tapping the table.
Oh, it's all right. This is a
Yeah.
topic that deserves some table
Well,
topping.
I've done podcasts where I have headphones and I have three Boston Terriers, soon 4, and they snore. I can't hear them because my headphones are noise dampening.
Okay, what's the fucking point here? Also, what was all this about gain of function? Yes, we can do gain of function research here. Gain of function research is how you do vaccine research. By trying to stop gain of function research, you're stopping vaccine research.
And then I listen to the podcast, you hear this humongous amount of snoring behind me. So I'm aware of background.
You didn't
noise.
bring the terriers this
I
morning.
didn't bring the Terriers, no.
So, but I just want to flesh this out a bit. You think it was created or begun in North Carolina, then brought to Wuhan for...
To be elaborated, to be studied, so I think...
Wait, so it wasn't created in North Carolina then, is what you're saying, right? If that's how you view it?
We took everything offshore because it got, gain of function got banned in the U.S.
But it didn't get banned in the United States. What the fuck are you talking about? This dude is so completely full of shit. Every word out of his fucking mouth, dude.
But I don't think we banned it. There were something like 36 bioweapons labs in Ukraine.
Yeah,
That's just a lie. Again, this one is a Russian lie. How many lies is this guy going to tell?
U.S. origin.
Yes.
So why is Ukraine perfect? Ukraine's perfect. To run a bioweapons lab, you need first world infrastructure.
Yep.
And third world people to test shit on.
Oh, please, dude. This is a vile fucking person, really. Wow, nobody said the clot shot. The poll is over. The Fauci ouchie wins with the jab coming up as a close second. Okay, Fauci ouchie it is. Jesus fucking Christ, though, dude, really. This guy, what a colossal piece of shit this guy is. He's just like making things up brazenly right now.
Ukraine's pretty much got that, right? Because Fauci, for example, in the United States, when he had to do clinical trials, when one of his lower rank, they'd go to foster care. They would do clinical trials on foster children.
This is just complete bullshit. This is just lies all the way down. This guy is such a piece of shit, dude. Really.
What?
Yeah, you got to read Kennedy's book. Yeah. He did an estimate. They used an estimated 14,000 foster kids to do clinical trials. They said the kids would figure out they're getting sick and they wouldn't want to take the meds.
This is just fictitious trash. Hang on. Let's see if I can get more info on this specifically. What was it was doing on foster kids? I doubt that's true because foster children have a lot of underlying conditions as well. Not to mention the mental conditions that they deal with as a result of, like, losing a parent or whatever. They're not the ideal representation of society, broader society. And as a result, they probably wouldn't be perfect candidates for testing. But let's see. Had nothing to do with COVID, was not related at all. In the 80s and the 90s, approximately 532 foster children in New York City participated in 88 clinical trials or observational studies, mainly related to HIV/AIDS treatments and antiretroviral drugs. Of these children, 80 died while in foster care, and 25 died while enrolled in a medication trial. Wow, that is really messed up. But this has nothing to do with COVID. This is not a regular occurrence. We recognized this and condemned it and don't do that shit anymore. I'm not sure what thing he's trying to get at here with this.
That's like Nazi.
So I think Fauci's been doing damage to people and killing people for many, many years. Yeah.
So we made a pledge only.
Okay, I don't care about your stupid fucking pledge. Let's just jump past it. There.
Second World War, when both the Japanese and the Germans were doing things like that.
Nuremberg Code.
Well, exactly. It was codified there, but
the Japanese were worse than the Nazis. They were so bad in the things that they were doing to people that people were complaining to Hitler about the Japanese brutality. Like, they had fully and completely dehumanized their subjects. And it was really, really horrific and evil and disgusting and wrong. Like, oh my God, it was bad. I don't want to literally like traumatize people, so I'm not going to talk about it much. But just one basic example that will not traumatize is they used to basically sever people's limbs with no anesthetic and just see how long it would take for them to bleed out, or like see like how much pain it took for somebody to go through before they died of shock or whatever. Like really evil fucking whacked out shit. So yeah, the Japanese were bad, and the Chinese were not anywhere near as like powerful as a country at the time, or anywhere near as developed or whatever, and were terribly mistreated by the Japanese at the time. And they definitely hold a grudge now.
For scientists, but for the rest of the world, and certainly American culture, we were taught that testing potentially dangerous drugs on people without their full consent, or on the weakest among us, or euthanizing mental patients, or whatever, all that was bad.
Right.
I thought that was one of the big lessons of
Yeah, that's bad, of course, obviously.
the Second World War.
Well, as we both know, there are no rules.
Yes, there are.
Boy, is that the truth?
There are no rules, right?
There are supposed to be rules.
There are none. There are rules for us, you and me, but there are subjects for which people could be thrown in prison. A great example would be Diddy. So what happened with Diddy? I think what happened with Diddy is Diddy had a bunch of very incriminating tapes. I think, Epstein light, and I think they arrested him to round it all up.
Okay.
All the data. I think they did it to get all the data away from Diddy because he was being sued in civil court. And the guilty party said, we got to get it out of there before the civil
Oh, please.
court gets it.
God, he's got a conspiracy for everything, doesn't he?
So they arrest Diddy. What'd they just convict him of? Nothing. They could have put him away for 20 years based on what he did to Justin Bieber.
Yeah, he definitely took advantage of Justin Bieber. I will definitely agree with you on that one. It was bad. It's disgusting.
Right? They didn't even get him on any of that. So it's a classic case. I know I sound like a nut.
Hey, look who it is. We got Alpha Force Zero in the house. Welcome, Alpha Force Zero. How did things go? Let me unmute you.
Hi, I was in chat actually a second ago.
Oh, well, welcome to the in-person event.
Hello. Sorry, I just sprinted upstairs. The bus I just watched the bus leave out of this window. That's how quick I was.
How did it go?
It went well.
Good. First day of school.
Yeah. So, interestingly enough, my least favorite class is lunch.
Oh, that's good.
I hate lunch.
That's good that you like the others though, right?
Or bad because I hate lunch. I have no friends. The cafeteria is being renovated, so the sections that are open are super cramped.
What happened to your one friend? What did she want to be called? Muriel or you or
Elise?
Oh, is that the name? For some reason
Elise.
I thought she wanted to go by Gretchen or Erlene or something. I didn't remember.
Elise.
Okay. Elise, right. Not Erlene. Elise. That was
Yeah, Elise and I don't have class together. And then we don't have any classes together at all.
Oh, hackers.
Including
That
lunch.
sucks. Including lunch? Really?
Including lunch, yeah.
Wow, that sucks.
Her lunch is 6th or 7th period. I think it's 6th period. My lunch is 4th.
Well, do you want to sit and watch some more of this with me or no?
Yeah,
You do?
yes, but I am gonna run downstairs and get food because I'm shaky.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll continue then. Let me know when you're ready. Okay.
Case, but yeah, you've had a lot of nut cases on your shows.
I had a guy.
My brother is trying to dial me back. His day, they're going to think you're a nutcase if you talk about all the things you think about. And I go, well, I think that ship has sailed. As I said to
I thought that was the whole point of academic research was the predicate
To be a fucking nutcase? No, I don't think that's the point of academic research.
for it. The basis of it is free thinking.
well,
Yeah, but this isn't free thinking. This is buying into insane, unglued from reality conspiracy theories. There is a difference.
but according to Douglas Murray, I'm not supposed to talk about it unless I'm an expert.
Douglas Murray? I don't know who that is. Isn't that one guy that claims that there's a difference in IQ between black people and white people?
Well, you are a demonstrable expert in your area. I mean,
which is not Diddy.
It's not Diddy. You're not a tenured professor of Diddy studies at Cornell.
We could have it. We do have subjects and
So you think the point of arresting Diddy was to shut down inquiry into what Diddy was
get
doing?
the data, right?
Well, that's clearly the point of the
Hunter
first
Biden's
Jeffrey Epstein arrest.
Hunter Biden's laptop.
Tell me your view of Hunter Biden's laptop.
Well, Sydney.
All right, let me just, since we're diving into this, the story is that there's a blind computer repairman that Hunter Biden brought the laptop to be repaired. But since he couldn't, but since he was blind, he could not verify that he's actually Hunter Biden. All he knows is that it's Hunter Biden's laptop. That's it. And for some reason, Hunter Biden brings it in and then just leaves it there, never picks it up. Dude tries to contact him and ask him, hey, do you want to pick up your laptop? And he never hears back from him. And so then he takes the opportunity to give it to Rudy Giuliani. I mean, what a far-fetched story, right? But for some reason, we never actually got our hands on the data. Giuliani claims that he created a clone of the hard drive and then gave the laptop to the FBI. Well, where's the hard drive then? If Giuliani has it, can't we take a look? Wouldn't it have floated its way onto the internet by now? The whole thing is super ridiculously suspicious. And in my personal opinion, I believe that Hunter Biden was probably hacked. His Gmail or something was hacked through a spear phishing campaign, if I had to guess. They downloaded a bunch of pictures and stuff through his Gmail account, his Google Drive or whatever, and then they uploaded it all to a laptop. And they brought the laptop to a repairman that they knew wouldn't be able to identify who actually brought it in physically. That's my take on it. And just left it there. And after leaving it there, it seems to me that, they probably found a guy who was most likely to turn it over to the right-wing ecosphere or whatever. I don't believe for a second that Hunter Biden would have left an incriminating laptop with some random blind repairman and then just not picked it up. It's just too far-fetched for me.
What's her name? Lawyer. Come on. Sydney Powell.
Yep.
Elite lawyer. Now down a few notches because she worked for Trump, and that always gets you in trouble.
Yep.
Said that if Hunter Biden's laptop were ever released, if Anthony Weiner's laptop were ever released, the government would fall.
Anthony Weiner is an ex-congressman who went to prison, I think, for underage, for talking to minors, underage people or something. Or I don't even remember. It's sending illicit images to underage people. I don't even remember. But he's the center of a conspiracy called Frazzle Drip, where people like Stu Peters claim that Anthony Weiner's laptop has a video of Hillary Clinton and Anthony Weiner's wife, Huma Abedin, or maybe ex-wife, torturing some 12-year-old girl by cutting her face off and wearing it to try to get her adrenaline pumping so that they can drink her blood straight from the tap, if you will, to get adrenochrome. It's all insane, ridiculous trash. Literally none of this is true, has any basis in reality whatsoever. So anyway, that's what he's talking about with Anthony Weiner.
Weiner's laptop had kill switches in it. I mean, it was filled with crap that wasn't supposed to be there. We never get to see it.
Yeah, I guess that he's a QAnoner then, to have, fallen for all of this. Remember when Tucker has claimed that he had the Hunter hard drive given to him by Rudy and lost it? Yes, oh my God, I completely forgot about that. Yeah, he did, didn't he? We're getting the hard drive. God, it's so fucking stupid, dude. Just transfer it over the internet, really. What's the big deal? Don't you want this shit to be out? This shit would have been out by now if it were real. It's not real. You cannot convince me that this shit is real.
Supposedly 9 cops watched the videos on Weiner's laptop.
This is a QAnon conspiracy theory. They say 9 cops watched it and 8 of the 9 killed themselves or something.
They had to keep leaving the room because they couldn't stand what they were seeing. And all 9 are now dead.
It's just a lie. This whole thing is fictitious lies.
And there's names and faces and deadness, right? They're real people. Now you can say, well, maybe they died for other reasons. I go, but it's still 9
Wait, you're telling me that people die? First I'm hearing of it.
cops. And, it's like the 5 cops who died after January 6th, right? The 4 of them were suicides.
And why the fuck do you think that people would have taken themselves out after January 6th? You think maybe it's because it was a literal insurrection attempt and they were being attacked relentlessly by Trump nutcases? Could that be it, possibly?
According to AI, there were about 80 cops really in the thick of things. 4 of them died from suicide. I don't need any more information to wonder what the hell's going on there. I've got pictures of Ukrainian. See, I'm going off topic. I've got pictures of known Ukrainian operatives.
I bet.
With you're not gonna believe this, with the QAnon shaman guy, the guy with the horns in January 6th, at January 6th.
Oh, interesting. So you're saying January 6th was a Russian op or something? I don't know. Or I'm sorry, Ukrainian op. You saying that it was a Ukrainian psyop?
What is that all about? I've got videos
That seems totally normal.
Yeah, totally. I've got videos
with the National Guard 100 yards away not doing anything. It's totally normal.
Videos of John Sullivan, the guy who was supposedly Antifa, but Antifa said no, he's a Fed.
I have no idea what he's talking about. If he's talking about that one guy who said that he wanted to go into the Capitol, that everybody uses as proof that it was a Fed op or whatever, that guy was just a Trump supporter. He was not like a Fed, quote unquote. This is just delusion. Is that who he's referring to? I'm not sure.
Don't talk to him. Who then filmed Ashley Babbitt getting shot. This guy's getting around.
What?
What's your image of an Antifa person?
Dude, oh my God. This guy is so lost in the weeds.
Shot. This guy's getting around. What's your image of an Antifa person? Lost soul, tattoos everywhere, right?
No, not right.
Is that the image?
That's his image, I guess.
No meaning in life, right?
Yeah, and no path forward, really.
I have meaning and or path forward. I mean, I guess I'm not Antifa, so.
But I also feel like, are you going to look at someone and immediately go, wow, they have no meaning and no path forward in life. They are a loser.
I mean, these guys do, certainly.
Only if you have tattoos, though.
Yeah, I suppose so. Well, that, I kind of fall into that category, I suppose, so.
How dare you?
Yeah.
These are nihilists. These are societies.
If they're real, that is. If they're
real. But I mean, if you look at the mugshots of Antifa.
Wait, if they're real? So is Antifa not real? I don't understand. It's like they're eating themselves alive with this back and forth bizarre conspiracy nonsense, and then they jump onto contradicting conspiracy theories. I don't understand.
Antifa arrest or the people who came to my house, the Antifa there. I mean, these are, obviously I disagree. They threaten my family. I don't like them and all that. But you also feel like these are one step above homeless. These are losers. Yeah.
I simply disagree, good sir.
One step above homeless. And you're going to look at someone and immediately know that, right?
I mean, I'm not one step above homeless. And again, I'm not Antifa, but I fall into that category in his mind, certainly. If I had to categorize myself, I'd call myself Iron Front. In Germany, there was opposition to the Nazi cause in the form of communists and social democrats. The social democrats were a political party at the time who were kind of they were like us very much in my political views. They were progressives. They believed in universal health care and pension programs like Social Security and all this other stuff, supporting veterans and things. Very much like us, Social Democrats were. They had a militant group when things really started to go down called the Iron Front that would protect other Social Democrats from Nazis, Nazi attacks or whatever. The communists were violent nutcases at the time and in that region, but they had a militant group as well called Antifa, anti-fascist. I would identify more readily with the Iron Front than I would with Antifa, but the Iron Front, they had this thing they called the 3 arrows. They would spray paint 3 arrows pointing downward and to the left, I believe, over swastikas in public to deface them. And the 3 arrows basically meant no monarchy, no Nazism, no communism. And I'm all in. I love it. I think that's an awesome idea.
Right. And so if he's Antifa, it's really odd that he was a nationally ranked cyclist.
I have no, like, what? I'm so lost, it's not even funny.
If
He's Antifa, he's not a cyclist?
If you're Antifa, you can't be a nationally ranked cyclist because then that means you did something with your life,
Oh, okay. That makes sense. I didn't get it before.
I think.
All right. So is he saying that successful people are not Antifa by definition then?
There
I
goes
suppose.
my cycling career.
Okay.
Are you
Because
serious?
What I know about nationally ranked anythings is their lives have purpose. Now, there's a mugshot. Did you follow this Patriot Front story? I'm really, this is, now the helmet's on, the leash to the jungle gym is on. The Patriot Front guys, those guys who'd stomp around looking like neo-Nazis who also were buff and had no pot bellies. And
They are neo-Nazis. They don't run around looking like neo-Nazis. They are self-affirmed, Sieg-heiling neo-Nazis. If you guys don't remember Patriot Front, here, just one real fast. One quick clip from them. It's these guys right here. Nope, I'm sorry, not that one. It's these guys right here.
Fuck you, Nazis! Fucking bunch of high school dropouts! Bunch of high school dropouts, everybody!
And of course, this cop decides to interrupt her protest by running his sirens. Why would a cop support Nazis? That's odd, huh? So anyway, this one was from late January 2025, I believe, after Trump won. That's Patriot Front. They march around in their stupid fucking, I'm sorry, with their stupid Nazi uniforms and cosplay as like SS members or whatever.
Nice
They're
save.
Nazis. Oh, thanks. I appreciate that.
covered their faces, get arrested, and they're handcuffed with their backpacks still on, and their megaphones still over their shoulders, and then I saw mugshots of them. Not a single tattoo.
Yeah.
No tattoo.
Okay, that's not true. There are a lot of Patriot Front people with tattoos. What are you talking about?
But aside from that, you don't need like a face tattoo to be a Nazi.
Right? I don't
Like-
understand.
Modern day Nazis aren't gonna showcase it on their forehead.
These are neo-Nazis. Not a single tattoo.
They didn't have like Waffen SS lightning
No
bolts on their cheeks.
swastikas.
Some of them do.
He did the same thing I just did. He went no swastikas and pointed to his forehead.
That's funny. Unironically for him.
You know, right? So we are in this big Walter Kernish. We're in this made
Wait, who the holy heck is Walter Kernish?
for the internet plot. Walter is great in his description of I've been tracking the Mangione story. It's not the right story. There's something wrong. And Walter laid it out. Now, what Walter didn't say is who's behind him.
I'm sorry, does this dude think anything is true? He like goes through all these conspiracy theories and he goes, no, this isn't true. And then he goes through facts and he goes, no, this isn't true.
And then he goes through contradictory conspiracy theories and discounts literally everything, even when they contradict each other. That's wild.
The universe is a lie, apparently.
He's an organic chemist, a professor at Cornell University, very, very respected apparently in his field, supposedly.
And yet literally nothing is true, it seems, in his eyes.
Absolutely
He's-
psychotic.
Everything he said, he's included at least, but something's not right, something's missing at least once with every single thing I've heard.
He's a full-blown QAnoner. Like, he has espoused full QAnon conspiracy theories, like Frazzle Drip earlier, for example. He's out of his head. Anyway, tell me what you think about it in the comments. It's wild.